Hi again, it's me, here to talk about some delicious leaves. That's actually what you're looking at here. Onions. You might not really think of them as leaves so much in your day to day life, but technically, all of these overlapping layers of things that we see here, these are each leaves. And now, to be clear about something, there's something else here. There's also a bit of stem tissue. It's kind of hard to see, and it sort of blends in with the succulent leaves because it itself is also quite succulent, and it's just small. So really, this whole thing is both a small stem and overlapping leaves. So that makes it a shoot. So okay, the official term for this type of modified uh, structure is a bulb. But what makes this different is that it is actually an entire shoot. And I wanted to start with the exception for this video because the rest of the things I am about to talk about will strictly be leaves. This almost fits perfectly into it, and it really does. Like most of what we see, what we eat in an onion, is leaf tissue. It's those overlapping things. Okay, so more clearly, here's a picture of some succulent leaves. So we've kind of got the main stems here, and we've got leaves coming off of that main stem, and that's how I know that those are leaves, as opposed to maybe little stems or something. Excuse me. Why would you do this if you were a plant? What is the point of this? Yeah, well, they're probably storing something. Yes, they might have naturally grown in a place that either has low availability to water for some reason or another, or it needs to hoard water for some reason, to maybe use in the future. And that's what we see going on here in these succulent leaves. Here's another picture of succulent leaves, so I'll write that on this one. This applies to both this and the last screen. This is, again, a form of succulents. Now, when I say succulents, I know it also sounds like I'm saying the word succulent, plural. It's also true; these are succulents. But namely, the part that is succulent is the leaf, as in this aloe field. Okay, moving on. A different type of leaf modification. We've talked about bulbs as a modification. We've talked about succulents as a modification. This is called a tendril. I've already talked about it in a different video, so there's some overlap here. It's true. Tendrils can be derived from stems or leaves, or as you can kind of see in this picture, or leaflets. Sometimes a tendril is just part of a leaf. It's a leaflet of a compound leaf. Again, its function is for climbing, getting closer to the sun. Not this, though. Now, this type of leaf modification is very different, has a completely different function. Actually, these two organisms are not closely related, these two pictures here on the left and the right, but they evolved under the same types of environmental pressures, namely very poor soil. And so they needed to get nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus and magnesium from outside sources. And so they both sort of figured out a way evolutionarily to actually make little pools inside of these modified leaves specifically for drowning generally small insects. Generally, there's exceptions to that, as you saw in a recent video. Super cool exceptions. These are modified leaves. That's just what they are, and we call them traps. This is a trap leaf. Namely, this one that you're looking at here is a pitcher trap. They're attracting insects to a pitcher of water. Here's a cool picture of our Darlingtonia californica. This is a local, relatively local. This is the California pitcher plants. also known as the cobra lily. And something cool to note in this picture on the left, we've got a couple of these Darlingtonia leaves. Again, these are modified leaves, believe it or not. But down here, we have a different type of carnivorous plant that is not in focus really in this picture, but it's those leaves at the bottom and they're very sticky. That's another type of, that's another way that plants have evolved to get nutrients from insects, is to have them land on their sticky leaves and then they can digest them right there. Here are a couple of other ways. Here's another example of a sticky leaf down here, the bottom right, the famous sundew plant that has these very sticky trichomes with digestive enzymes in them. Or the famous Venus flytrap, which again will digest flies by trapping them closed. Snap trap. Active trap. Okay, another type of leaf modification. This is called a spine. This, like a thorn, has the function of hopefully deterring probably large herbivores, things that are trying to eat their precious succulent stems, which are filled with water and are, just quite the treat, I'm sure, for some hungry ungulate or something like that. So these are spines, and namely spines are modified leaves. We know that they're modified leaves, well, because in theory, they do have axillary buds at their base, but specifically in cacti, we won't really go into the details. They're extremely small. You won't really see them. Just know that those are spines. Spines are leaves that are modified to be sharp armaments.